Back at the early days, when Scott was the first of our 5 children, um, we tried to instill entrepreneurship in them, and we ran the kids in the neighborhood, my kids, Ann's kids, uh, had a little stream over here a block away, and we dammed it up and caught the crayfish and had a regular business of selling the crayfish to fish stores.
He also, as a kid, had every animal imaginable that we raised. I think he started out probably with a skunk, was our first pet. We had iguanas, and we had flying squirrels, and we had eagles and bald eagles, and we had snakes, and we had rabbits, and we had guinea pigs, and we've had snakes loose in our house. Where's the snake? It's not in its cage, sort of thing.
And so he worked at a vet's place, and his job was to go in and clean the cages, feed the animals, and clean up the messes and wash down the cages on the weekends. And he also worked after school. And this vet, I guess, probably had a drinking problem. But anyway, he would do an operation, and Scott would be assisting him. And then as I got near the end of the day, I guess that veterinarian would sort of lose interest and want to go, I assume, go drink some more. And he would say, Scott, you finish up. So Scott used to operate on animals, or at least do the sewing them, stitching them back up, and so on. Anyway, he decided he wanted to be a vet. And he went and got a job as the night watering man at a fancy golf course. So he would go out on weekends and nights in the summer and water the course. And he was always a good employee and a good person. And so he got to be a trusted person out at this golf course. And they, when he was starting in at University of Maryland, they looked around, they had a golf association, and he was the only student. The rest of the people weren't going to college that year, so they gave him a scholarship. I think it was $200. So he signed up for turf management. So he's gonna be a turf person. And that's what really got him into agriculture, switched, in fact, from veterinarian to grass. When he was at University of Maryland, he got a sweetheart, and that was Teresa Loy. So Teresa Loy Angle. And they were close to each other at College Park. And then when he was going to get a PhD out at Columbia, Missouri, University of Missouri, she tagged along. They were married, and they didn't have any kids yet.
I think he wants to keep control of the whole of the problem, and so he acts as manager of Teresa and her illness. And I know the doctors have said, pretty much we have what we have here, so you do, when you see an issue, you address it, and we'll help you, take care of this particular issue. But it's certainly, I've always thought it was interesting that he took Teresa with him everywhere. And there have been so many people that have been so kind to her and to Scott. Being the dean is an overwhelmingly busy job. And so taking care of Teresa is, just adds to the whole thing. He has some wonderful help, and his daughter is really, really supportive of being able to care for Teresa. But it's a stress on his life, no two ways about that. But the people in Georgia have been amazing for him.
Yeah.
Oh, he loves Georgia now. It's I think he particularly likes Athens. And I know as the dean, he's had to visit every county in the state. And Georgia turns out it's a big state. So he spent every year he tries to visit each of the extension offices in all of the counties. So that's a good part of his job is traveling around and seeing the state. And I know everybody that goes down to visit, and he has a daughter down there who is married, and I'm sure will stay. And we all think Georgia is a especially nice place to live. One of the things I know he does during football season, he has a brunch. I imagine it's for the agricultural kids on Sundays after a football game, which is on Saturday. And he says he does that because he wants to show these kids how you maintain, or not how you maintain, but to see somebody like Teresa and what they can show compassion in their lives for people like Teresa, and that I think he thinks he's kind of a teacher in teaching kids how to maintain a life with. People say to him or question why he doesn't put her in a home someplace, and this is how he's chosen to take care of her. And I know he's not going to put her anyplace. He wants to be in charge. I think he's finally learned it's good to be in charge of things over the years, and so he's going to maintain charge of Teresa. He's doing a wonderful job, but it's an impossible job too. It's an endless, thankless job, but I think we're proud of him for that.